Good morning, good morning, good morning. One of these days I'm going to sing, just warning you. So today is Thursday. Welcome to My Left Ear. I am Carrie Freeman. It's the 28th of January, and I'm the writer, producer, director of My Left Ear, as I always like to say, and I receive information, psychic information, intuitive, through my left ear. And this is for entertainment purposes only. And I always combine the intuition with common sense. What's common sense, right? I do psychic coaching. And in fact, I have a session coming up in a half an hour, and therapeutic hypnosis. And I coach writers, which I'm doing right now. So thank you. I always want to say thank you for the subscriptions. We're growing. It makes me really excited to grow something, especially during COVID, grow something during COVID. All right, got to get right to it. I want to call this Houston, we have a problem. And this has to do with the Senate impeachment conviction trial. As some of you know, I did the runes. I did 3 runes the other day before coming online about this conviction, and they really told a positive story. Now, the interesting thing is that my left ear hasn't given me a clear, direct thing on this. It did tell me last week there's lots more information coming, and then more information came, damning evidence that Trump spent $2.7 million on that rally before the riots, before the insurgents, when he talked. We're going to go to the Capitol, as he said. And then, of course, the crooked DOJ attorney that's a Trumpist that they were trying to get acting AG Rosen out, all illegal. And the whole DOJ said, if you do that, we're going to walk. So it didn't happen, but everybody found out about it. But my runes, were very positive. So obviously I've been disturbed, like what's going on? Because now they voted, and Rand Paul, who I call him Rand Appalling, okay? Just helps me deal with how much I don't like him and how evil I think he is, and how I think his pockets are filled with Russian money. Rand Appalling. So he says it's dead on arrival. Okay, all right. It's dead on arrival, but here's the difference between the first impeachment trial and the second impeachment trial. There were no witnesses allowed at the first one, so it was really dead on arrival, and it just went down in the books, and the conviction went nowhere. This time, however, there's a massive amount of evidence, a massive amount of video, eyewitnesses, victims, and we have deaths. And I think it was yesterday, another Capitol policeman committed suicide, someone that was there. And there came out the information about all the injuries that the police endured. Very serious, very serious. You should Google, because it's stunning. So it doesn't look good right now, but there's going to be all this evidence, and they just have to sit there and listen to it. Those who've decided they're voting to acquit, they're doing this in advance, they're deciding in advance. We know this. Most of them, not Mitt Romney, a few people, Liz Cheney, but they're going to have to sit and listen to all this rock solid evidence. It's very, very painful, by the way, and damning and horrific. And it's going to go down in the history books. Every single word of this trial is going to go down in the history books. And the majority of these senators that are kind of turning into supremacists and fascists, as shocking as it is to say that, many of them have children and will have grandchildren if they don't already have grandchildren. And all of this is going to be in the history books with their names attached. So those who are voting to acquit this incredible presidential criminal are going to go down in the history books, and they're choosing to go down in the history books. And there's nothing they can do that will ever change that history. We're going to be okay. if he gets acquitted. It will be appalling and painful, and it may make us even more angry than we already are. But this isn't like a cakewalk for Donald Trump. Much more is coming. We don't know when. I think it's pretty soon. I think Letitia James, Southern District of New York, is probably ready to rock and roll. And that's going to be just the beginning of it. He has a rape accusation, a rape trial, DNA. So try to temper if the Senate goes in this acquittal direction. I don't understand what the runes were telling me last week when I did this, other than perhaps they were saying there's a good outcome. There's something fulfilling after all at the end of this. Kind of have to turn it over to the will of heaven. But the other day, oh, and I just want to say this. I started to record this like 15 minutes ago, and I got totally interrupted by a message that said, do you have enough storage? And it just stopped the whole video, and I have to start over. But then I thought, what if that was divine intervention? What if it was my left ear or a guide or an angel? I don't know, but it just made me feel like there's some energy going on in here. So I threw the runes again yesterday, so I'd have something to bring to you. And the first rune I got was the rune of joy, reversed, okay? Reversed. And it has to do with the slow coming to fruition. That means to me the goals that the Democrats, progressives, independents have slow to come to fruition, even though Joe Biden is working his tail off. I don't even know if the man is sleeping. It's so impressive. But it bodes to a long, arduous journey. A difficult passage is at hand. We're feeling that. And it's very serious. And we have to be very sincere. We have to have clarity, patience, and perseverance, which we definitely have perseverance. I don't know about patience. The middle rune, the second rune, is about journey. It's upright. And this is about two sides of communication. So that's very literal, right? The two sides of communication. And it's about an attunement of something. Well, that's confusing because we're not attuned at this point. But the journey is towards self-healing. So maybe there's a message that we all have to look inward about how we can start our own individual journey of healing. So this doesn't, so these people don't own us, and we don't give our power away, and we take ownership of, I can do better, I can heal. But we can't force, and we have to access the teacher within. This rune, journey, says the end is in sight, and there's no longer a burden by what we have left behind. And that's kind of hopeful, right? All right, so now we get to the end. And the end is about partnership. It is the rune of partnership. And certainly we're not experiencing partnership right now, are we? But it says partnership in some form is at hand. Do not collapse into that union. That's the second thing it warned. Do not collapse. So I feel like there's maybe some kind of offer, and the wisdom is to the Democrats, to the managers, the impeachment, don't collapse into that union. But do realize that there is a divine in all things. And this partnership rune signifies the gift of freedom, which all gifts flow. Now, it's interesting to me that I've thrown the runes twice about the Senate, and they're not disastrous runes, because there are runes that are like, forget it, it's collapsing. It's a we'll see. I think my purpose mostly is to say it's not going to be over. No matter what the senators try to do, it's not going to be over. And there's a number of them that are going to be investigated. And they have some karma coming up later in 2021. All right, let me just look at my notes. And yeah, I have a note that I wrote, MLE, that justice is on the other side of this, where Trump really feels it. All his properties, his opportunities, crashing. And I had told you that I don't think he's going to put up another party. I think it's a lot of talk. And Tom Joseph said the same thing. It's basically bullpucky, as I like to say. I did tell you that I think the pubs are making decisions more based on their base than Trump. In fact, just to be kind of amusing, the other day, I posted on Twitter Meghan Trainor's hit song, It's All About the Bass. People like that. They thought that was funny. And in terms of the Republicans, the pubs, and, people like Rand Paul and the Turtle and Lindsay, follow the money. I mean, really, follow the money. And I think eventually we're going to find out more. And I'm going to leave you with an amusing story about Joe Biden, how really sharp he is. First of all, I just want to say thank you, Joe Biden, President Joe Biden, for all your hard work, your focus. Just in 1 week, you're astounding. I think you're amazing. I think the people that you've brought together, I'm just personally so grateful. So I just had to say that. Who knows? Maybe someone on his team will see this. You never know. Thank you, Joe. All right. So there was a conference. It was like a news conference, and it came to like the last question, and someone from Fox News, and he was allowing this last question from Fox News before he left the podium. And the woman, I don't know who it was from Fox News, said, "Mr. President, have you spoken to Vladimir Putin?" And without blinking, Joe said, "Yeah." And he said to say hi. That is so clever, because he just inferred that Fox and Russia are co-aligned. It's great. I mean, just thinking off the top of his head. And we've got this family that has a sense of humor. The German Shepherds, Major and Champ, have their own Twitter feed. And the other day, it had their schedule for the day, and it said that Major and Champ were going to go over to the Rose Garden and start digging it up and preparing to return it back to its original. So that was the way of the Biden administration said, we're going to fix the Rose Garden, and Joe and Major and Champ are going to help us. I just thought it was so cute. All right, so I jumped on for this, and I have to get ready for my client, and I will be back. This quote was by Ulysses S. Grant, who was the 18th president of the United States from 1869 to 1877. And before his presidency, Grant led the Union Army as the commanding general of the U.S. in winning the American Civil War. And then he went on to really push for civil rights. So in case anybody wasn't clear, I just wanted. So this was his quote. Unbelievable how history replays itself and everything old is new again. If we are to have another contest in the near future of our national existence, I predict that the dividing line will not be Mason and Dixon's, but between patriotism and intelligence on one side, and superstition, ambition, and ignorance on the other side. Really kind of sounds like Steve Schmidt a little bit, who is, it seems to be an authority on history. I'm not saying he was quoting you, but it's the same kind of, so I'll just repeat it one more time. It's my one quote today, because it's so stunning. Ulysses S. Grant, if we are to have another contest in the near future of our national existence, I predict that the dividing line will not be Mason and Dixon's, but between patriotism and intelligence on one side, and superstition, ambition, and ignorance on the other. All right, I chose it because I, for one, think it's spot on. Spot on. So keep the faith Allow yourself to be upset for a minute if there's no convict, because we're moving on into better times and we're in better hands. And yeah, it's disappointing. And you want to know personally? Sure, I'm upset. I'm angry. But it's not my job to come on and spew. I'd lose you in a minute if I did that. I really want to come on and help people, calm people. And I wanted to give you a breathing exercise that is fantastic that I use with all my clients. So what I'm going to do, it's really simple. I'm going to post the breathing exercise later on today in community. It's really simple. It's called 4+4. And then I'll walk everybody through it when I do the next video. It's really useful. It'll help you sleep. It'll help you shut off anxiety and repetitive thoughts. It's one of the best tools I have. And all my clients know about 4+4. So I will post that later and then I'll talk about it because I don't have time right now. So wishing you peace, make memories, make peace, make memories, do a little meditation, and be grateful. I'll talk to you soon. Here we go with the bye-bye. Bye-bye.